I like to call this one Hoist by Her Own Petard. Well, who knew Nicola Sturgeon would seal her own fate? My mother can't stand her.
I just can't stand that woman.
In my view, it was all over for Nicola the moment she attempted to use the trans community as a pawn in her game of independence with her gender recognition reform bill. She would have known full well that it was such a ludicrous proposition to afford those as young as 16 the opportunity to simply change gender without any medical supervision or need for gender dysphoria diagnosis. I suspect she was expecting Westminster to intervene. Then she could say, "Look at the dreaded Westminster interfering in Scottish politics." I mean, there is the argument that perhaps she felt affinity towards the trans community and was trying to help by opening the door to every Tom, Dick and Harry to abuse the system, like rapist Adam Graham. He committed rape as a man. That is the only way rape can legally be recognised. Adam, the rapist, then decided to change gender, which meant he was then taken to a woman's prison under the new name, Isla Bryson, which is preposterous. Nicola Sturgeon had previously branded anyone who dared suggest such abuse and advantage of the system would take place as misogynistic, homophobic and racist. Her critics included author and self-made billionaire J.K. Rowling. I mean, things went from bad to worse for Nicola. I mean, during the First Minister's questions on February the 2nd, she refused 4 times to say whether she thought that Bryson was a woman, despite her previous stance on self-identification.
This week, the Justice Secretary, Keith Brown, was asked if that rapist should now be considered a woman. This is what Keith Brown said: "I think that is the case. We have to accept people identify, as in this case, as women." Does the First Minister agree with her Justice Secretary?
First Minister. I think that rapist should be considered a rapist.
Other SNP ministers had referred to Bryson as she, and 4 days later Nicola also did the same, referring to Bryson as her, before backtracking and changing her answer to the person. Nicola was, shall we say, not her usual confident self.
I can't remember. I'll take your word for it.
It sounds
well,
like
fine.
a Freudian
Look,
slip.
I'm trying not to.
Whilst I deplore the crimes that Bryson committed, I'm thankful that his behaviour demonstrated to even Nicola's ardent supporters just how ridiculous her gender reform bill was. The double rapist had accidentally shone a spotlight on the nonsensical practice of allowing biological men into women's prisons. I mean, it should clearly be stopped immediately and the safety of the female inmates put first. It is safe to say Nicola was correct that there are many who will be rejoicing that she is no longer in post and decided to walk before she was pushed. In a previous monologue 2 weeks ago, my exact words were, "Nicola Sturgeon has bitten off more than she can chew." I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Whilst Rishi Sunak, in his snake-like charming manner, politely saw Nicola out of office, Donald Trump, however, did not mince his words. In a statement, he said, "Good riddance to failed woke extremist Nicola Sturgeon of Scotland. This crazed leftist symbolises everything wrong with identity politics." He added, "The wonderful people of Scotland are much better off without Sturgeon in office." We've missed you, Donald. When I told my mother, all I could hear was laughter at the other end of the phone. Perhaps now Scotland can focus on internal politics rather than one-trick pony Nicola Sturgeon's dogged obsession with independence. And perhaps now we can heal the United Kingdom. It is fair to say that Nicola Sturgeon was hoist by her own petard. Goodbye, First Minister. Well, of course, it's been reported today that the SNP will plan to quietly drop the proposed legal action against Westminster's decision to block the controversial Gender Recognition Act amidst Nicola Sturgeon's resignation. Although Sturgeon denied short-term pressures were the cause of her resignation, it's clear that her name will forever be associated with putting female-identifying male rapists in women's prisons. So it looks like the bill will ultimately fail. But should we be pleased?